All right, taking a look at this excellent, Masters Excellent Jumpers course. Wow. A nice motivating start. So here I think the rear cross is a little difficult with this dog. You really have to go right up to the jump to commit the dog. I can't see their head here, so I can't see if your dog is reading it. It looks to me like your dog is probably looking straight ahead. Not necessarily getting the wrong curve, but definitely not looking at this curve, and does most of the landing, the turning after landing. And I think it's not just the wide turn. I think it demotivates your dog a little bit when your dog thinks that they finally are kind of getting a rhythm and then they have to change direction. So I would look at a different opening here. And I think probably, given the running start, maybe you could get in a front cross here. The blind cross, the turning cues would be a little later, and I'd be worried about really driving the dog into the tunnel. But I think that at this point, if you cut the angle a little bit, you might be able to do the front cross here. Really, really good connection coming out of this tunnel. It's super important. And here you are, eyes on the dog through the uprights. Little distraction getting into the weaves. These are difficult weave pulls too, running towards that white wall. I think it's probably a good call there to go on and address this in practice. Like, to me, your dog is not even attempting to weave here. She goes through the uprights, but the eyes are focused over here. I think that there's probably some amount of distraction, but I think there's probably a large part of avoidance there on those weave pulls. Late on this blind, so it's really hard with this dog because she really needs you to stick with her to commit her to the jumps, but that makes it hard to get in fronts or blinds, and then you end up with rears, but she doesn't drive ahead for you to do the rear cross. So you're kind of a little bit stuck here. And you're coming off of a mistake here where y'all are together. I think this is a spot where if you want to do that blind, at this point you have to say, well, I'm doing a blind. I'm going to have to not help her on this. But my blasting ahead in this direction helps support the triple. And so you really have to take off and get that blind in a little bit earlier. Really nice change of direction there, just really turning your shoulders and going. And a nice, okay, and this is exactly what I was talking about for the previous blind. Like you just have to go and do it. You have to leave your dog for this jump, but know that your blind cross supports this jump really well. And that's what you do here. You're the teeniest bit late there still, but managed to get it in. And in there. Okay, so now we have okay, so I don't know if this is a different course or if you got a redo or something. But here you had to stay. Oh, I know, it's your two different dogs. I remember that from the description now. So yeah, what a difference the stay makes here. Easily get this blind cross in. Still really good connection out of this tunnel, super important. Yeah, I think making that blind was going to be really difficult there. From about here, I thought, oh, I don't think she's going to make that blind, but that wasn't your plan, so that's good. However, the rear cross here is definitely too late. You can see your dog is actually looking not just straight, but in this direction. So you've got to put that pressure on the line earlier. You've got to commit the dog, and you've got to start putting pressure on the line to get that turn this direction. So your dog is very, very forgiving and able to do it, but you can see that your dog clearly didn't know where they were going. Good call to just do the rear cross there on the tunnel. And done. Really nice run. So good job with both dogs, and I think just deciding the best handling for your slower dog is a little bit more difficult. So I would look for places where you can still get those blind crosses in. You're going to have to relinquish some control on the jumps. But for the most part, where you're doing these blinds, where it's on these kind of straight lines, the blind supports the previous jump. So I think it's a pretty good gamble to relinquish control of being there to help your dog on the previous jump and instead moving ahead of your dog temporarily to get that blind cross in.